Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Soul Talks with Alka. Today I have with me Reverend Susan Kramer-Mills. Reverend, welcome to our show.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
Thank you, thank you. So you started your life as a pastor, you're a pastor.
Yes.
However, your life took a different direction and the reason why you're here is a different direction.
Yes.
So talk to us about Dina's Dwellings. Dina's Dwellings, tell us what Dina's Dwelling is and what is the purpose and how you're there.
In the state of New Jersey, annually, somewhere between 60 and 70,000 cases of domestic violence are reported.
Wow.
60 to 70,000 just in the state of New Jersey. And it's increasing, unfortunately.
Wow.
And especially in times like COVID, the domestic violence cases increase.
Yes.
So when anxiety inside the family is happening, it happens.
Yeah.
Now, statistically, also 74% of those reported cases are happening with women.
Okay. So
26% happen with men.
Wow.
74% with women. So they say 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men experience some sort of intimate partner violence in their life.
Wow. So what is, obviously you can't house everybody, right?
Right.
So first, walk me through, and this is important because we want to give women the strength to be able to come out and find help, right?
Yes.
If someone is in an abusive relationship, the first thing to be able to do is call for help because you always feel that you deserve it, right? You're made to feel that there's a reason why you're being abused.
Yes.
In that relationship.
Right.
When you can call for help, that's a huge step. It's like calling for AA and saying, listen, I have an issue.
So if you call, so in Middlesex County or in every county in the state of New Jersey, every county has their shelter.
Okay.
Okay, and people can call their shelter.
Okay.
They can find numbers all online, but they can also call the national hotline.
Okay.
There is a national hotline. You type it in, domestic violence hotline. That's all you need to do, and it'll come up in the cursor. And I know most of our people do have phones.
Right.
So look it up.
Yeah.
And it's an easy thing to find. You call that number, and they will connect you to the shelter in your county.
Okay.
So that's really important for women, anybody who's experiencing domestic violence, to know.
Right.
So they will advise you about what steps. They'll ask you whether you're safe right now,
right?
What's your situation, and how would you like to get out of it? Because you have some choices even in this matter.
Yes, absolutely.
You can make some, make sure you have a packed bag with all your necessities, especially paperwork. Paperwork is very important.
Yes.
And you can try to get that stuff ready before you leave.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to make sure all your
ducks are
in a row. Yeah, before you decide to make that move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can. If you feel it's too dangerous, leave anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, unfortunately, the statistics on murders are rising.
From domestic violence?
Yes, yes. So every year they were going down over the last 40 years, but in 2015, 2016, we're beginning to see a rise, tick up. Now, maybe that has to do with gun violence or, the prevalence of having guns, but if there is a gun in the house, there's a high likelihood, extremely high likelihood, that it will be used.
Wow.
Okay?
Wow, okay.
Okay, so that's really scary and life-threatening.
Life-threatening, yeah.
Yeah, so 54 women were killed in 2016.
Wow. And has that risen
just
in
in
20?
the state of, and it's just in the state of New Jersey. I've not been able to find statistics for the most recent years.
Okay.
And that is in parts due to how these statistics get released.
Ah.
All right, so there's not always everything available. The most recent statistics that I could find was 2016 at this point in time in my search.
So did you get involved in Dina's Dwelling because of a personal reason?
Well, I moved from being pastor to being the executive director of Dina's Dwellings. Mm-hmm. So I stepped down from being the pastor, part-time pastor of the church, mm-hmm. to being the executive director for Town Clock Community Development Corporation and all of the programming that we offer for the residents at Dina's Dwellings. Mm-hmm. So Town Clock oversees what's happening in the building. They also fundraise for programming from case management, clinical therapy that we offer, free on-site, educational programs, children's programs, art therapy, yoga, even right now, and scholarships. We provide scholarships also to the women that they apply for, so that if they decide to get a certification, they can't afford most of it, because mm-hmm. So our population is no income, low income, who come into our building.
Right.
All of our residents have been homeless.
Wow.
At some point over the previous year and a half.
So they have left their home without any shelter in place?
Correct. So they've left their home. Some have gone to the shelter, and then sometimes they get transitional housing. Others have moved to like a family or a friend's house where they, what we call couch surfing.
Okay.
And
like a transitional place?
Yes.
For them?
It would be transitional or, an inadequate location.
Right.
With a family or friend.
But so no personal experience. This is just something that dawned, like that you just kind of walked through it and got into it.
I walked through it and got into it, and then I realized, my own daughter was having her own abuse stories, unfortunately, and they tend to cycle. They choose another partner that's not really appropriate, and then another. And they really need to work on their personal selves, their own psychology, their own self-worth,
right,
in order to get out of this cycle.
Right.
And to feel that they're strong enough that I don't need to be treated like this.
Yeah.
I'm a human being that needs to be loved.
Yeah.
And the love is the key.
Yeah. So when women call Dina's Dwelling, so how does that, how does somebody get to Dina's Dwelling?
So we don't take direct referrals.
Okay. Okay.
So we work with what we call the Continuum of Care Committee of the county.
Okay.
And they have a list through the 211 phone calls that identifies who's homeless, who needs housing, and that direct list enables people to be assessed. What are their needs? Where are they at, and how to get them rapid housing, which might be in a hotel or some other shelter or some other family transitional housing.
Okay.
And then they get referred to a more permanent location.
Got it. So there is somebody already who's kind of massaged them.
Yes.
Before they have come to Dina's Dwelling.
Yes. We don't take them right from the very... they don't enter into our building until they've really been in shelter or have had some other in-between status.
Right. Okay. And what is the capacity of the shelter?
The shelter for women aware for the county.
Oh no, for Dina's Dwelling.
Okay, so we don't refer to ourselves as a shelter.
Okay.
Yeah, and because we're long-term housing.
Okay.
So our facility houses 10 women and as many children as they can bring with them. Okay. We could fit up to 8 children.
Okay.
So they each have their individual apartments.
Okay.
And they have their own kitchen and bathrooms and responsible for that. And we have on the 3rd floor of the building, we have offices, we have community space, we have laundry facility for them, and a food pantry and clothing pantry.
Oh, okay. So how do you enable the women to get out into the workforce? So obviously long-term housing can be two things, right? One person can really take advantage of that and say, I'm not going to do anything else because it's comfortable, right? One person says, I'm going to get out of it. How do you enable them to get out and merge into the normal life?
So it takes a process.
Okay.
So when they first usually arrive, they're a mess.
Yes, of course.
They're a mess. And they meet with the clinician, and then also with our case manager.
Okay.
And through that process, eventually they set up a clinical schedule of meeting with the clinician once a week, meeting with the case manager as often as they need. She's in 3 days a week. She's on call as well as I am. And eventually they sit down and they write what they call a service plan.
Okay.
What are your goals?
What are your goals? Nice.
For the next 6 months.
Okay, nice.
Not much longer than that.
Yeah.
And then every 6 months that's reviewed. Have you made your goals? Okay, so what were the barriers to meeting your goals?
Okay.
Where can we help you find the assistance that you need in order to make that goal?
Nice. Okay.
So that's how we eventually, and then we begin to try to dream, imagine. And we've had a few workshops along the side, where would you like to be, how to empower yourself, and those types of things. Yeah.
So what's the longest a woman has stayed? What is the shortest a woman has stayed?
So right now we have 7, what I would call the originals.
Wow.
So we opened in 2016, in April of 2016,
wow, okay.
and 4.5 years.
Okay.
So, but I think it's, they're reaching, each person reaches her own time.
Yes.
Status. When she knows, I'm ready. I don't need to be seeing the case manager as much. I don't feel that I want to be participating in therapy. I have a job. I want to be more independent. Mm-hmm. And so what we're trying to do, what we're working on is this is for the first time, and we're only one of 2 long-term facilities in the entire state of New Jersey.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. So that all these women are coming to the hotline and saying, okay, we need help. You have space for 10 women.
And then there's one other location that has 3.
So how do they qualify?
Well, so what they do is that they end up going into the homeless shelters, or they get put into Section 8 housing. But that's not as, our facility offers all the wraparound services. So our facility offers a clinician on site. They don't need to go someplace else.
Exactly.
So everything happens within the building. It's safe. We have cameras. We check the cameras. We have, that type of a high security for ourselves and for them. And we have a case manager who cares about them. And it's very intense.
Yeah.
And it offers a lot of support, also financial support. We get people who donate gift cards to Stop and Shop or ShopRite. That helps a lot of the women who have a tight budget.
Yeah.
And until you get some sort of job, it's rough.
Yeah.
So
how do you choose how did you choose these women to live?
Well, we had an interview process, and we asked them, do you think you're ready for this type of a program? It's not gonna, we're careful, and we will be, I hate to say it, but like your mothers.
Right.
We will watch over you.
Right.
And you might not always like us.
Okay.
Because people want to be an adult, sure.
Right.
But sometimes they're making bad decisions.
Right.
And we will be there and say, that wasn't really so smart.
Yeah.
Or, they might run out of, rental income, money. So they You know, so we have to say, okay, rent is your first priority. Here's how you learn how to do this. This might be not something they've done.
Yeah, budgeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's financial literacy is tough.
Yeah.
So
when a woman needs to get out of that space, right?
From us.
From yours, but let's say from the abusive household.
Okay.
They first call the hotline, right? The hotline puts them in touch with
the shelter.
The shelter.
Yes.
They go to the shelter with their stuff. What happens to them there?
Oh, they have wonderful wraparound services,
Okay.
case managers, therapists for the children as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and they get in touch with all of these. The shelter provides them also contacts with the police,
Okay.
how to work with the courts, because there's a lot of things that they're going to have to work on, especially if they have kids.
Right.
You know, it's not easy to leave. You have to begin with a temporary restraining order, and you have to get custody. You know, you're fleeing something. So there's a lot of things that are going on legally that are not easy.
So they provide the legal services?
They provide legal services and advice in all of this, yes.
And what if someone doesn't have the right immigration status, right? Because what happens then? Do they care? Do they provide immigration?
It's really important for women, particularly, who do not know this. There's a U visa that is available for someone with domestic violence that's happened here in the United States.
Okay.
So go to the shelter and they start the process.
It's called a U visa.
A U visa, yes. And that is for women who don't have a status or who have come in on their husband's status.
Right.
Work papers. That's really important. I know for
so
the
important.
immigrant community. If the abuse has happened here in the U.S., they can find support and through the shelter and get a U visa so that you can stay here and work on trying to maintain your place here in the United States.
Okay.
Because I know that a lot of immigrant women are afraid to return home.
Right.
For whatever reasons, and I know, I'm very familiar.
Okay, so that's a very important, actually, because that's part of their scare, right? What's going to happen to their status?
Absolutely.
They're going to be out of status, and they don't know what to do with that information.
Right.
So, and then the attorneys handle all of their paperwork, the U visa and all that, the shelter that takes place?
It's a struggle. It's a struggle,
okay.
yes, but begin the process.
Yeah.
They should not... You will find, any woman will find that there's a lot of support out there.
Once you get out there.
Once you get out there. And you're surprised how many doors open up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of women caring about this.
Yeah.
Because 1 in 3 women have experienced this.
Yeah. And once you put it out in the universe will help you.
Yes.
So if you're in a position, get out there and get some help. There's a lot available. You just need to pick up that phone.
Absolutely.
And
pick up the phone, find out.
Yeah.
That would be the first step.
Yeah.
And begin to ponder. But to have the self-awareness that you don't need to be abused.
Yeah.
You're a valuable person. You are loved.
Yes.
And that love should inspire you to love yourself. But I know it's very hard.
It's especially when you're in that and then it's been your self-esteem has been beaten and you're not thinking anything of it. So that is all very easy for us to say, but it's harder to be. I mean, I was in my marriage and I had been abused for a little bit, but obviously I knew better, right? So this is not happening. What are you doing? But it happens to everyone. People are surprised by who it happens to. You think it happens to the uneducated, or it happens to people who are not successful. It happens to everyone.
Any person can be abused if you are not aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you fall into a pattern. You think, oh, they apologize, right?
Yeah. They bring you flowers.
And I'm never going to do that again.
Yes.
I'm very sorry. It was just a one-off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it happens again.
Yeah.
And then they start stalking you.
Yeah.
Or they start controlling you, saying, who are you talking to? Why are you doing that? You can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Taking your phone away, taking your car keys away.
Yeah. Or cutting you off from your friends, cutting you off from your family.
Isolating you.
Isolating you.
Is another way of control.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very smart and savvy.
Yeah. So you just have to make sure that you're going out to get some help.
Yes.
That's important. But coming back to Dina's dwellings, right? What happens now? So this, you have enough women in there now. Nobody else can. You're full to capacity, right? I know you're getting another family in for the 3-bedroom unit as well.
Yes, that's our new expansion. That's the Barbara Littman house, and that will be opening up in October.
Okay.
And yes, we already have a candidate there who's going to be coming in. Yes.
Okay. So again, my question is, when you're interviewing the women, so many women, how are you choosing somebody who gets long-term housing in a special home?
You have to say really to her, are you ready to come into this facility and work on yourself? Because this is what we will do for you, with you, supporting you. But you also have to choose it for yourself.
But isn't this, so forgive me if I'm wrong, isn't this easier than being in a shelter? Dina's dwelling sounds more cushy to me than being in a shelter because you have your own space.
You have your own space, you have your own apartment, but we're not allowing necessarily all visitors into the building.
Got it.
Okay?
Got it.
Because we have found that women in particular need a boundary.
Okay.
And it's hard to have a boundary. And especially a person who's trying to find her own self, she might not be able to say no.
Got it.
And we have decided after 4.5 years, this is the better way to go now.
Okay.
And it might be that, you know, you're frustrated with that, but you can meet that person off site. You don't have to meet them in this space. This space should be a safe place for everyone.
Everybody.
And everybody in the building has had the experience of abuse.
Right.
And each person is at her own journey location in her wellness,
Right.
in her development of being healed from the trauma.
Right.
So one person might be okay seeing a male person in the building, and another person, it'll totally freak her out.
Yeah.
Because she's just started.
Yeah.
And we're all at different places in this journey. So we've decided, if you need to see somebody, meet them outside.
Wow.
You know, there's another location. And during COVID anyway, it's...
Yeah.
But, you know.
But in general, there's guidelines, and that's
Oh,
the
yes, there's
choosing.
rules
Okay.
and regulations.
Okay.
And not everybody can abide by those.
Okay. So for women who obviously can't get to Dina's dwelling because there isn't capacity, but they have to go to shelters or just get out of that situation.
Yes, and then find long-term housing through the county system.
Right. And this can be any state. Let's say it's not New Jersey.
Correct.
Every state has a hotline, right?
Every state has a hotline, and there's the national hotline.
There's a national hotline.
Yeah.
And so tell the women who are watching, what are some of the key things in getting out of that relationship and getting care for themselves so they can build a foundation of being healthy, safe, and independent?
Take your things, call the shelter, arrange for a meeting with the shelter to be coming in, and just take your things and go.
Okay.
Don't even tell family.
Don't even tell family.
Don't tell family.
Okay.
Don't tell your best friend.
Okay.
Because your abuser will go first to those people. You disappear.
Oh, he'll go and attack them.
Absolutely. And get rid of your phone. Because he might have tracked it.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, because all of our cell phones have the tracking devices on it. Your car, he can have a tracking device on a car.
Yeah.
He could be following you. So you have to find a way to get to that location without him finding out.
Right.
So that's really important.
Yeah.
Just take the bare minimum. You will get provided all the other things.
Yeah.
It'll be tough, but it's not worse than what you're going through right now. And especially for your children.
Yes.
If you have children, your children are watching and are being affected by it.
Yeah.
And it's harder for your child to have a better life. The statistics for children are devastating who have experienced domestic violence in their home.
Yeah.
So they have a higher likelihood of using drugs, committing suicide, and repeating the domestic violence in their own life, either becoming a victim or being an abuser.
Wow, it's like a cycle.
It's the cycle.
Wow.
And so by leaving that situation, you're not only changing your life, but you're changing your child's life.
Yeah, so for all the moms who,
Yes.
or dads, who are thinking that they're
Correct.
doing it for the kids, it may not, it's not for the
Many
kids.
women have said to me they did it when they saw how it was affecting their child. They didn't make the decision for themselves. And that's that typical thing for women. And do it for yourself. You know, you need to do it for yourself. Say, yes, I love myself and I'm going to do it for myself. I know everybody loves their children and I adore my children and I love my grandchildren. But do it for yourself because it's about you in the long run and your healing. And once you are healed, you can also help your child heal from this trauma. And they do have trauma. They know more than we realize.
Yeah, it's like an airplane. You have to put on your mask first.
Yes,
Oxygen,
very good.
Yeah, oxygen
Yes.
mask first before you can give it to them.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, wow, thank you so much, Susan.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for.
You're welcome.
That's a lot of information. A lot of things I learned actually. So, so thank you for giving us those
You're
pearls.
welcome.
We appreciate that. Hopefully, we can help one person out there. And if you need any help, you'll have the guideline information. You'll have the hotline information from us. Whatever you need, get out there and get help. And like Susan said, do it for yourself. Thank you so much for watching.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming to Soul Talks with Alka. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And we'll be back next week with another episode of Soul Talks with Alka. Thank you everyone.